Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm joined with Kathy of Cinemondo Podcast, and we're going to talk about the Malayalam film RDX. RDX just came to Netflix over the weekend. Neither Kathy or I were able to see it. It wasn't playing near us when it exploded. Was it only a month ago? Like, how many weeks ago was it? It feels
like it feels like a year ago, I think it came out.
Well, for me, it feels like it was just like 2 weeks. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's on streaming already? Anyway, we were thrilled. We got the word that it was on Netflix with subtitles, of course. And so we both watched it and wanted to do a review together. This came out the exact same weekend as Dulquer's King of Kota, which was the more hyped film. And I would say this film, although it has some stars that are extremely popular, young stars, the RDX stands for Robert, Dony, and Xavier, played by, let me make sure I get them, the one, Shane Nigam is Robert, Antony Varghese, or Pepe, is Dony, and Neeraj Madhav is Xavier. And then we have Lal as the father of Robert and Dony, and Babu Antony, the master of karate, is the father of Xavier. And the film was written and directed by Nahas Hidayath, who I think this is the first film that I have seen of his. And oh my God. I could see why this film became a sensation. The entire time I was watching it, I'm like, oh man, this would have been more fun in a big theater with a crowd going nuts.
No. It was so beautifully shot. Like, I don't want to keep comparing King of Kota to it, even though they were kind of competition in a way. But King of Kota had its own vibe. It was a little dustier and kind of muted, a lot of nighttime. This was like so bright and like brilliant, and even at night, they're at a carnival, which is like the most genius location for everything, because no matter what's happening, you have this incredible vignette behind you with sparkling lights and carousels and Ferris wheels.
Oh my God, the way the church was lit up. Oh my God,
so beautiful. So smart to add not just like an everyday whatever. It's like, no, carnival, because then we're going to bring you lots of fun lights and big crowds for some reason. And so
and
I really love
performances.
Yeah. So funny. And I think Shane Nigam, is that how you say his name? Shane Nigam?
Yeah.
He's so good. Like, I thought these kids, I say kids, these men would cancel each other out.
He's the youngest one, but oh my God,
really
right?
Good. Oh my God, he did most of the heavy lifting. I can see that he was kind of, even though he came in a little later, I kept, when is he going to come in? Like, all these other guys are getting their big fight scenes and the whole revenge thing starting to get them. And then he has this big fun entrance. He looks like super cool, and then he's just a bartender, which is funny. Like, he's like, here I come, not just a bartender, but he comes in, he's like, oh, I'm behind the bar. It's like, it was just kind of funny. It was a funny entrance. You thought he was gonna be all badass or something. But I'm very impressed by him. I loved him in Calabunga Nights. This is so good.
Right. I mean, what I have seen him do before is more roles like Calabunga Nights, where he's like the young love, interest, whatever, and he's, I'm not going to say I never saw him do a fight scene, but oh my God, and the dance sequence. My jaw was on the floor, Kathy. My jaw was on the floor.
I'm like, what is happening?
Holy crap, the guy could dance.
What? I know, it was so funny. And he just went into it like it was nothing. It was so funny.
We're used to that from, I don't know, other industries do the big dance numbers much more. In Malayalam cinema, maybe have a nice montage, love song or whatever, but what?
They did a great job. It was awesome. I mean, it was really legit.
Really awesome.
I loved it. The song was good. Yeah, that was really cute. It was
I loved that part.
It was so good. I know. It was really good. And I thought the villains were good. They felt real and grounded, even though they were terrible. You just felt like these are kind of people, they just were like, we've got to get rid of these people. They're in our way. Just felt like it was,
right.
We're going to take it to the next step.
Right. It's like I'm gonna take offense at whatever, and I'm gonna remember my slight from years back, and we're payback now.
And we're gonna hurt your baby while we're at it just because we're jerks.
Oh my God, Kathy!
Oh, so stressful. I'm like, they're not really gonna hurt this baby. I mean, I was like, would they? They might. Like, I couldn't decide.
I mean, okay, I thought that whole. I love the setup of Lal as the father is just like trying to break up the fights at the carnival.
Always in trouble.
Obviously, he's put in a lot of money to sponsor this whole festival, and he's like, we're not having that young man shenanigans here. That you're too grown up to do that. Like, stop it, right?
Quit fighting.
Quit it. But then I loved how it was like the first scene we had seen was the guy with the scarf over his head at the door, and then that's the scene, and it's Lal is the one as the father who opens the door, and then complete mayhem, complete chaos, and the character Dony at first overpowers everybody, but then they grab the baby.
All bets are off when they got the baby. Oh no!
I mean, I was just thinking the emotional impact that scene had, and I felt like Antony Varghese was actually so great in that scene,
really good.
Just showing this anguish, like, oh my God, you did this to my parents, you did this to my wife, but not the baby.
No, it's all me. This is all my fault. Like, that was the sad part, is that if he hadn't done the whole fighting thing in the first place, which he was told not to do, none of this would happen. So it was kind of like the ultimate fallout. So what do you think what lesson did they learn from that?
None.
Fight some more.
You know what they learned?
More fighting.
When somebody comes at you with a machete, bring out the nunchucks. That's what they learned.
Nunchucks, they conquer all, apparently. So funny.
That's what you do.
My God, it was so funny.
We also don't normally get martial arts kind of
fighting. That was interesting.
And Indian films, and I absolutely kind of loved it, and I loved how each guy had their distinct fighting style.
Right. That was very cool. Yeah, that was very cool.
Like Shane Nigam, I think, was the tallest, and so like he's gonna kick people and he's gonna do these big roundhouse kicks.
I loved those when he like grab him with his legs and then spin with them. It was so good. Oh my God.
I loved how Dony's character, Antony Varghese, was kind of big, and you're like, okay, but then he is, he could dodge basically anything and then give the powerhouse punch.
I liked it too, because a lot of times in these movies, they have these big fights and people break out and fight, and they can do these amazing, fighting things and jumping through the air, and they don't really explain that they've been training to do this. You never have it. So I love that they actually brought background in that this was something they trained really hard for their whole lives. Like, they've been doing this forever. It was part of their family, their family business in a way. The one, he had his own, doja. It's like he trained, people in martial arts. So I love that was like, well, of course they're good at martial arts because they know how to do it. They were trained their whole life. So I like that they weren't just all of a sudden good fighters out of the blue. It's like that. That was kind of a nice little detail, I thought.
I mean, another little detail I loved is you have Xavier, who's now reached the point where he's teaching the young kids, right? Yes. And they've just done their performance on this stage, and that's when mayhem starts happening. And one of the kids, yells, Master Xavier, and he's like, oh God, I'm fighting in front of the kids, and the kid is like, here's my nunchucks.
It's like, nunchucks are available if you need them. So funny. I know you thought he'd be like, no, stop. It's like, no, just do more. I love that. I know how many fights disrupted fun family things. We had a dance, we had the demonstration, we had the carnival. Like, they were terrible. They always were causing shit.
And it was also, it was a lot of, another little detail that I loved in the flashback when Shane Nigam beats up the teacher. Okay, so then all the other girl students see, he's our savior. We can, anybody's bullying us or sexually harassing us, this is who we go to. And I absolutely love that Shane Nigam's character was like, well, did you try talking to him and tell him not to follow you around?
Exactly.
And the girl's like, I couldn't do that. And he's like, yes, you can. You can do it.
Do that. That was
And
really...
he's like, just go talk to her. We'll be right here. You're not going to come with me? No, you can handle this. That was epic. Okay,
that, really
that right there was epic.
Because you're expecting like, yeah, you're gonna follow him around and protect him and do this thing. He's like, nah, you can handle it. It's like, wait, what? This is not the normal narrative that we're used to in movies. We want
but
more of this.
He's like, you're empowered. You can do it.
You're an empowered woman. You can do this. You can handle it. I know, that was really funny. I love that too. And there was also the very disturbing fight scene where they're gonna hang the guy. That was genuinely like, whoa, what is happening? Where it's just like that, the street fights that get out of control. And then all of a sudden there's this mob and they're all like, yeah, listen. And you felt the ramping up of it really well done. And then you have, I'll call him Shane. Shane, right? Yeah. He's running through the building up the stairs, trying to figure out how to get to that rooftop, and he's jumping. There's a guy chasing him, and it's like, oh, another machete. Oh, that's a machete. And then, oh, God, it was just, it was just unnerving because it was very, very grounded and creepy feeling. Like, it wasn't like, we're going to string up in a tree. Like, it was this cord and they're dragging them up a wall. Like, oh, I found that super disturbing. Oh, really well done.
I mean, I felt like the director really, I mean, I'm not going to say that we were at 11 every single moment, but oh my gosh, like the stakes really felt real and not like, oh yeah, we're just watching some superhero movie and people are throwing each other into buildings or whatever, like, right? Like it felt like the stakes are real. Like they made a baby bleed on their neck. They had to have stitches. God. Like, oh my God.
Bleeding and bruising on a child. That was a low blow. So you knew those guys were bad and they needed to be taken out. There was no forgiving that. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, but I also, it had moments of sweetness, like the smile on Shane Nigam's face in the flashbacks when he was falling in love. Like, I don't think anybody can do it better than he can. Right?
He looks so sweet. And then to see him turn into fight guy, you're like, it's like this, like you turn. This does not look like a guy who can do that. Like, he can't possibly hurt a fly. No, he can. He definitely will. That was really funny. I love that. It was good.
I mean, like if you think about how badass the Dony character was, and then I think back to the beginning when he's terrified of having a secret drink at the festival because his wife's gonna smell it on his breath. And he's just like, I can't
drink anymore. Yeah, she'll know.
Just choose some kind of, oh man.
That was very cute. And that's what kind of gave it a little more, I think, like you're saying, stakes and emotional resonance, because it wasn't just these guys out fighting. They had families, they had a background, they had people who cared about them, they cared about people. They made sure that you knew that people can get hurt and that they're in the background. There's people who don't want them to do that. And then, then they have, their honor and that they need to do. I really liked that. It was like more complex than what I expected. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of guys on motorcycles running around hitting people with nunchucks, done. And that would have been fine too. But this is way better. But it was really beautifully made, like just gorgeous, beautifully shot. I love a lot of the camera work was really like top notch. And when they were following the motorcycles and just high angles, low angles, spinning cameras, like he really brought in a lot of extra flair that they didn't even need to. I love when people bring more than is required. It's very nice.
I mean, this film was just absolutely fun to watch. Like I can really see why it was a crowd pleaser, why the word of mouth went crazy, why they had to add as many screens as they possibly could when this opened. Wow. Right? Like, I mean, I don't remember the trailer really telling us anything. I was like, oh, I'm kind of excited about this cast. Right. But like it was not the hype machine that we had for King of Kota and some other films. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I know. I think maybe that's it too. Like, a lot of times when you have that kind of hype machine, you do set expectations pretty high. And because it felt like an underdog. And so when people went to see it, they felt like, I'm supporting a movie no one really knows about. I'm going to support a movie that's more unknown and they're trying harder instead of the big stars with the big action big that everyone knows about. There is sort of that wanting to support the underdog, so, and it wasn't even like underdog, not good. And it wasn't really underdog, but compared to King of Kota, which had the promotion machine, like up here, it felt like an underdog. But that movie, it already had a lot going for it. It had that cool title, and it had, of course, again, the great locations, and the posters are playing on the carnival also, which made like, what is this? Very interesting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was intriguing. But you just didn't have, and the trailer didn't get you the flair of how fun this movie is. And I mean, I realized like that I have missed, because Anthony Varghese, who played Dony, was in Angamali Diaries, and I'm not sure that I have. That's a few years back, and I'm not sure that I've really caught up with the projects he's done in between, and it's making me want to go back, because Angamali Diaries was his very first film. And then, I mean, Shane Nigam I've seen, but this director, I would like to see what else he's done. And obviously I would be very excited for any future projects. All right, because we have Kathy, we always have to talk about posters. So, because for those that don't know, Kathy's job is to make Hollywood posters. So let's see. I'm trying to get where I'm up to. Okay, so they have kind of some traditional, but I love how it has the Ferris wheel, you know, in the back, and then it's the three of them with the nunchucks. Yeah, we can't get the nunchucks.
The nunchucks, and I was noticing like the hair makes it look like it's 90s or something. We have some mullets.
Oh,
and then the fact they're using nunchucks.
The pleated pants,
and the pants, definitely the pants. Even the plaid shirts, feel a little bit like that, which I love. I loved all of that.
I loved all of that. Yeah.
And I think around them, is that like people standing around them?
Oh, hold on.
Sorry. I can't tell if that's a hand. Like, it's probably being surrounded, is my guess. People, probably bodies flying down. But so that's beautiful backlit. Lots of good silhouette value. Good job.
Yeah. And then this one, this kind of is emphasizing their
martial arts
moves.
That's really fun.
I think this one, which is going to block both of our faces, this is actually my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because it's like we're the perspective of they've knocked us to the ground.
Yeah, we're the victim.
And they're like, you're going to start something with us? You're going to start something with us?
That's right. It's like, I like where he has, it looks like a bat or something, where he's like pinning us to the ground going, don't even move. Do not move. And then I like the Shane standing there with like the nunchucks. It's like, oh, what's he going to do with those?
Yeah.
There's just a little hint of like their weapons, which I really like.
I couldn't find it in a JPEG, but there was a vertical version of this, and it is like a baseball bat that he's holding in the middle.
But I like the kind of leaping guy in the background. There's a little guy in the background.
I think that one's my favorite though, because that really, of all of them, kind of captures the feel of the movie.
It does, even though I wish it wasn't just kind of a generic cityscape. I wish it was sort of a carnival background again. I mean, I guess they felt like we've done the carnival background, but I mean, they aren't just in the carnival, but I thought those are the great set pieces. I thought all the great stuff happened there. So I'm probably still leaning toward the Ferris wheel one, because it just has that great epic movie poster look. But yeah, I like seeing their faces clearly and up close, and being the victim is fun.
Anyway, so have you seen Angamali Diaries? I can't remember. And you've seen Come-Along-y Nights. So you have seen
Come-Along-y Nights. I don't think I've seen Angamali Diaries.
All right,
not even close. We'll watch that. Assigned.
We have to add that to our list. That was the first Lee J. Joe's Pellicery film that I saw. And whereas Jallikattu, I know you don't want to watch because of the animal.
The animals quotient. I know that's unfortunately I miss a lot of probably good movies because they're not good to me. If I see that in there, then the movie's just ruined. So I'm like, okay, at least I know what it is.
But I agree. Like the camera work in this one was exciting, and just
it was
the whole story. Like because sometimes an action film can just be boring. Like we're not invested in
it's just action.
Who cares who wins, right? It's just generic action, and I didn't feel that at all through this whole thing. So
and like you said, they all had their own styles. They had very distinct personalities. Like you knew who each one was. You knew where they were in the frame. The choreographing of the fighting was really good because you could see their different skills. You could see their different look and attitude. Like they did a really good job in separating it because like you said, very easy to go really generic with fight, a bunch of people fighting, 3 people fighting at the same time already. And then they're fighting. There's 6 people and even more So I like the way the director was able to keep them really like in the center of the frame, and that you really knew who was doing what. That was really well done.
And if you think about it, part of the whole theme was that their parents did not approve of them doing this fighting. And so, I mean, Lal had been taken out. Yeah, well, Lal had been taken out by, he had bone fractures and whatever, so he couldn't help them fight. But I loved the entrance of Xavier's father. And that was like the seal of approval of like, okay, you guys are fighting for a necessary cause,
Good. Good one. So true.
Anyway, thanks, Kathy, for joining me for this discussion of RDX.
I really enjoyed it.
Definitely need to check out her channel, Cinemondo Podcast. Kathy and I are doing frequent collaborations, so do check all the things that we're doing.
We're everywhere. Well. Just go everywhere. Subscribe to all of us. Subscribe.
And you can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever the hell it is, at Pardesi YT, and Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
Are you actually posting to all of those?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Kathy.
All right.
Bye.